now move on to greeting skills, opening techniques and rapport building. Now the purpose of greeting is to create a welcome environment. The purpose of rapport is to create a good relationship. Way too often we underestimate the importance of a good greeting. How do you greet your customers to make them feel welcome and show them that they are valued? First of all, be attentive and acknowledge a customer as soon as they walk in, even if you are busy. Be yourself. If you are naturally flamboyant or extroverted, and that's how you come across, then be just that. If you are more conservative and serious, then that's fine also. But just remember, no matter what your personality, always remain friendly, polite and professional. Smile and establish eye contact as soon as the customer walks in. Approach the customer and start a conversation. And give them your full attention. Things that you should never do is stare at a customer as if you are watching to see if they're going to steal something. And even if you think they are, try to be a little more discreet. You should never pretend that you are too busy that you can't see them. Also, if you have two people together, don't acknowledge one and not the other. Another thing is, don't call out next if they are waiting around the counter. This is unacceptable unless you work in a supermarket. Don't sound insincere or phony, or put on a forced smile, as it always shows. Saying, "Can I help you?" is usually an ineffective way to greet a customer, even though it is probably the most common. Now, a better way, or a better alternative, would be to say something like, "What can I help you with today?" as this is an open-ended question, as opposed to, "Can I help you?" which is a closed question, and can only be answered with a yes or a no. And it's usually answered by, "No, thank you, I'm just browsing." Now for this exercise, I want you to get into groups of two and do a role play, where one person is the customer and the other the sales assistant. Now think of how you would approach a customer and what type of greeting technique you would use, and what type of body language you would display. Then swap and do the same. Make sure that the other person uses a different greeting technique. So now that you have completed this exercise, take a look at this list of effective greeting techniques that you could use the next time you greet a customer. Now check and see whether you have used any of these in your role play. The best way to greet a customer is to be able to show them that you recognise them. Now, if you know a customer has been in before, say something like, "It's good to see you again," or "Welcome back." And even better, if you remember their name, then definitely use it and really show that you remember them. If you don't recognise the customer, you can greet the customer by saying, "Hello, have you been into our store before?" It is proven that the switch from "Can I help you?" to this kind of greeting has increased sales by 16%. Now, if the customer says, "Yes, I've been here before," then you can also respond with a "Welcome back," or "It's great to have you back." And if the customer has never been there, it's a good opportunity for you to show them around and ask them questions, identify their needs and point out the sale items. Now, another good way to greet a customer is to introduce yourself and ask them for their name. And also, don't forget to call them by their name when you are talking to them, as this builds a relationship between the two of you. You can always comment on the weather or something obvious. I know that the weather is used quite often, but it gets the customer talking and feeling comfortable. Compliment them on something that they're wearing, but make sure that you're genuine and not phony. Use a talking piece. For instance, if you see that they are looking at a piece of artwork, comment on the artist, or ask them what they think of it, or tell them a story behind it. You can do exactly the same thing with any other item. Find something that you can say about it and share your knowledge of it. And remember, the bottom line is, timing is everything, so make sure that the customer is acknowledged first and served later. Establishing rapport. What is good rapport? Good rapport, like a good greeting, is also about making the customer feel welcome and establishing a welcome environment. You build rapport when you greet and acknowledge your customers as soon as they walk in. Make sure you make eye contact and smile and give them your full attention. You build rapport when you make your customer feel valued. Before they leave, let them know that it was a pleasure to serve them, or tell them about a promotion or an offer that you are having, and invite them back. Another good way to build rapport is to use empathy. If there's something that they're not happy about, let them know you feel the same. And if it's something to do with your business, then let them know that you'll look into it and make sure you resolve it. Using mirroring. Now, mirroring happens on both a conscious and a subconscious level. If you want to build rapport, you may have to make it conscious. However, if you already have rapport, then it will happen automatically and will be subconscious. Mirroring is a technique where you mirror what the other person does. But don't confuse that with mimicking. For instance, if they lean forward, you do the same. If they smile, you also smile. If they naturally speak quietly, you also lower your voice. If they're excited, then you become excited. So you see how this technique works. And if you think about it and become aware of it, you may realise that you're already doing this, especially with those that you automatically click with. And with those that you don't, it may be worthwhile doing this on a conscious level until it eventually becomes subconscious. And just as we talked about in our greeting skills, remembering the customer is a great way to build rapport. It's a good idea to practice your memory skills. A customer always feels valued if you remember them. Ask for their name and remember it. Try to remember when you last served them and what they were after or what they bought from you. If you remember what they bought, ask them about it. For instance, if they bought a lounge chair from you, ask them how they like it. How does it look in their room? What does their partner think of it? Or whatever may be appropriate or relevant. Customers like to return to friendly environments. If you show that you recognise them or that you have remembered them, they will return to your store and buy more from you. This exercise is a case study in serving customers. What method would you use to serve the following types of customers? Write down your answers and check them when you finish. Number 1. How would you serve a customer who walks in and knows exactly what they want? They get the item and go directly to the counter with it. Number 2. How would you serve a customer who is walking through the store looking a little puzzled and not sure what they are after? Perhaps they're just browsing or getting ideas or seeing what you have. Number 3. What about the customer who is inspecting an item or a product? They are looking at it and testing it out. And number 4. If you are on your own and you have several customers who are waiting and wanting your attention, what do you do? Now that you have your answers, the answer to question 1 should be something like this. When a customer knows what they want and comes directly to the counter, you should greet the customer first and welcome them, but don't spend too much time with them. Serve them quickly and efficiently, and after you have served them, ask them if there is anything else that they would like or that you can help them with, and thank them and say goodbye. For question 2, for a customer who is looking a little puzzled and not quite sure of what they are after, or maybe they're just browsing, you should approach them and greet them first, ask them how they are, engage them in a conversation. You could comment on something that they are wearing or on the weather, but try to avoid asking if you can be of assistance, as they will usually say, no thank you, I'm just browsing. For question 3, when a customer is looking at a particular item, you would greet them and start a conversation about the item. You could tell them something about it, show them your product knowledge, and build their interest. You may also want to show them or tell them or demonstrate how it works. Show different styles, colours and makes, and ask open-ended questions to determine exactly what they are after. And for number 4, if you are on your own and you have several customers waiting and wanting your attention, don't just focus on one customer while ignoring the rest. You should acknowledge each and every customer that walks in, and even if you are busy with one, let them know that you will be with them in a minute. Try to get as much information as you can from the customer that you're dealing with at that time, and write down their queries and their contact details, apologise and say, look, I'm sorry, I'll have to get back to you, or make a specific time to see them when you know that you won't be on your own, and then move on to the next customer and so on until you have dealt with each and every customer waiting.